All right, so in our upcoming lessons, we're going to be multiplying rational numbers. So in this problem, we want to find what the product is of -3/4 multiplied by -7/9. And we are going to write it in its simplest form. So before we get started, let's first review what we know about fractions. Remember, if we can convert all of our fractions we to a terminating decimal, then we have the option to use either a decimal or a fraction, whichever works best for us. Okay. If it is a repeating decimal, then we would want to keep it in the fraction form. So let's see what we have. First off, I know my fourths. So if we're counting by fourths, I know that this is going to be 0.75. This is considered to be a terminating decimal. So far, we can convert them into decimals. But let's see what happens with 7/9. So if we take 7 and divide it by 9, this is one way. This is actually a repeating number. I know it is because I see all sevens and the last one is an 8. This is my indicator that we've rounded up because we did not have enough slots for us to keep on. So this is going to be a repeating number. Remember that you can also find the same answer by using your ABC key. So 7, ABC, 9. Second, backspace, and it's the same thing that we had before. And of course, if you wanted to convert it to a negative, then remember you could always hit this plus minus button here. Okay. So yes, it is a repeating decimal. So we want to keep it in its fraction form. So I'm going to solve this in two ways. One way is with fractions. Remember, you just simply multiply across. So if we have -3/4, and we're going to multiply that by -7/9, we could multiply straight across. Um, and don't worry about the signs just yet. Let's just worry about the math, and then we'll get back to what our ending sign is going to be once we finish finding the answer. So 3 times 7 gives me 21. So that's 21. And then we have 4 times 9, that gives me 36. Okay. Now, as far as the sign, if it's going to be positive or negative, remember our rules about our signs. If we have two of a kind, remember it's going to be positive. So we have two negatives, which means that this is going to be a positive. Okay. So this is positive. Remember, if it's positive, you don't even have to put a sign in front of it, but I'm just doing it for this first example. Now, the next thing that you want to do is simplify your fraction. So by simplifying it, you want to think, what number can I divide 21 by, and 36 by? What is the same factor that they have in common? And we're looking for the greatest common factor so that we can reduce it to its smallest term. I know that the number is going to be 3, so I'm going to divide both the numerator and denominator by 3. That gives me 7, and 36 divided by 3 gives me 12. So my answer is going to be 7/12. Now, I want to show you another way that we will solve it, so that we don't have to simplify it, hopefully, at the end. So what we could do is write the same problem out. So we have -3/4 times -7/9. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for common factors that we have in the numerator and denominator. Okay. And it doesn't matter as long as you take one from the numerator and one from the denominator, it does not matter. Um, and what we're trying to do is find out how can we reduce those terms. Well, when I look, I see that I have 3 and 9. I know both of them are going to be divisible by 3. So I'm going to say 3 divided by 3, right? So 3 divided by 3 gives me 1, right? So I can cross this off and I get a 1. And then I know that 9 divided by 3 gives me 3. So I'm going to cross this off and that becomes a 3. Okay. So let's see what happens now. When we multiply across, we have now 1 times 7. So that gives me 7. And then we have 4 times 3. That gives me 12. In terms of our sign, we had a negative times a negative. That means that this is going to be a positive. So notice our answer is the same that we had before. So in future examples, you're going to see me using common factors, dividing out common factors. But just know if it's harder for you to see that, in the meantime, you can just go on ahead and multiply straight across. But at the end, you'll still have to do the same thing. Okay. What it does is it just simplifies your fractions so that you're not looking at such a large number at the end and trying to figure out what they have in common. So that's why we do it before we start to solve. So hopefully that helps. Let's get ready to try another one.